My name is Sebastian and I am filmmaker and photographer specialized in outdoors. Last time I asked you what the next episode should be about, and it seemed like you were interested about Norway, where I live. I will expand this topic because Norway is a beautiful country, and I guess some of you want to move here, or just you're curious how is to live in this country. I'm not originally a Norwegian. I moved here a few years ago, and it was pretty spontaneous decision. Before I was actually interested in outdoor filmmaking and any outdoors. I was doing fashion and still life photography. That was my main job, but at some point I just felt this is not a path I want to go, and I decided just to close the business and move on with my life. And I knew I want to live somewhere where it's like a lot of mountains and quiet, close to nature. I just felt like I don't want to live in the city anymore. And on the beginning, I moved to close. I mean, on the beginning, I used to live next to Oslo, but partly it was good because it was still small city, but I was able to commute to Oslo by train or like subway. It was perfect transition from big city to, let's say, small town. After a few years living there, I met my girlfriend and we decided to move together. At the start, we used to live up north of Norway in a small village called Soreisa. Then we moved to Arendal, where is south of Norway. But both of us are pretty mountain-driven people. We love to hike, we love to climb, we love to run in the mountains. Then we decided to move somewhere where it's like closer to the mountains, and we end up in a village called Vaxstranda. That's like 500 inhabitants, but good part in this city, you are close to the three major or like three pretty big city for Norwegian standards. That is Ålesund, Molde, and Andalsnes. We moved here in 2022. And yeah, I would say it was one of the best decisions we could make. From my perspective as like business part, it's reason for that is I have really good location for my projects, because a lot of or great athletes are living here. Then it's easy to connect with them and do personal project, professional project. And now, let's say, you basically can pitch other companies to do project where you actually live. You don't have to travel. And that was my main problem when I used to live in Arendal. Then all the time I had to live to the mountains, and you couldn't be home for, let's say, part of the summer, because all the time you were in some areas where the project is. Pluses and minuses living in Norway. The main plus when I was looking where I want to move was like main thing. I wanted to kind of be able to communicate with people right away, and that is possible in Norway because almost everyone speaks English. Like, I didn't met too many people only Norwegian speaking, and yeah, you often hear Norwegians are like close and they are not welcoming, but I didn't feel that way, but I heard some people feel totally different. I think everything is based on your interests. If you are like more sofa guy and you move to this country, you might actually have trouble to find people to connect with. But if you are outdoor person, they are always open for new adventures and catching up. Then I would say Norwegians are pretty open for foreigners, and they happy to guide you. And let's say if you want to learn cross-country skiing, oh, they will love to teach you the cross-country skiing, what is like national sports here. Then I guess it's just based if you want to be part of the community. Another plus in Norway is you can set tent almost everywhere, like as long as 200 meters from someone's property. Then it's good if you are into like sleeping under the tent. Then you can hike, climb the mountains, stay there, uh, and it's pretty accessible as well. Like when the water is so clean in the rivers, then you can easily drink it. Then like when people are afraid that Norway is a very expensive country to travel to, it's as well based how you want to travel. If you, let's say, use the tent, you sleep for free, like you don't have to pay for it. The area of Norway is so big, and with so little people, you can hike for days without seeing anyone. And I think this is big advantage here compared to some other areas where I used to hike. Norway is perfect for landscape photographers. If you are into this type of photography, I would say you need to visit this country because it's endless types of terrain, and I will just post few photos from totally different areas in radius of 100k, and you can see like the landscape change rapidly. You can have seaside or fjords, or you can just go to very steep mountains, and everything is close by. Terrain changes all the time and is lovely. Then one more thing is northern lights that you have in winter. Higher up in Norway, higher north in Norway you go, you will see them more often and more clear, but you can see them even in Oslo quite late, like last 2 years. They often visible in the capital of Norway. Let's talk about these advantages in Norway. I would say the public transport suck badly. Like in big cities is fine, everything works on time, but if you move to small village like I do, the public transport is almost no go. You can't like you have buses not like every hour but every few hours, and it's very hard to access bigger cities. Or let's say you want to travel or fly early morning plane, and you need to get to airport, then sometimes you have 1 minute to change the buses, and then you are afraid you will not make it. Then I would say the public transports in smaller or like more remote areas are pretty bad. But yeah, that's this advantage you can live with. You just need a car, and that's it. Yeah, another semi minus, because I don't know how to describe it, but the distances are insane. Like if you compare, let's say Poland, you can cross Poland in one day. You can cross Germany in one day. I mean, you can probably go from, let's say, Poland to Switzerland or Italy in one day. If you start in Oslo, there is no way you will get to Tromsø, that is still not end of Norway, in one day. The distances here are insane. And then let's say if you are a tourist, better check your map before you plan your trip, because let's say if you come to Oslo and you plan to go to Trondheim next day, it might not gonna happen, or you will spend all day in the car. Then better to check where you're going, because it will save you a lot of stress if you plan a bit unconsciously what you want to visit. One tip, if you want to visit Norway and travel, try if you have a chance, try to ask locals where to hike and where to go instead to go to these famous spots, because often these famous spots are crowded and you can go to similar locations that are more beautiful, better for your pictures because there will be no one there. Ask locals or speak with locals where to hike, because for example Prekistolen, you can go there and it will be super crowded, but if you take different route, starts the same from the same parking, but you take different route, you go to exactly the same type of stone. It's more demanding hike, but you will be by yourself and standing on the almost exactly the same rock. You can take even better pictures because it's towards the fjord from the other side, and it's so beautiful, and you'll be by yourself. There is no one there. Then I would say always try to find alternative routes, because in Norway you have endless type of uh, hiking spots, and it's not always better to go where everyone else is. It's just better to try yourself different locations. I can, of course, I will write link below to the website where you can search for Norwegian hikes, but most of them will be in Norwegian, but you probably can Google translate it, then do it, and I think that will be good tip to travel here. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Probably I will explore more how to travel in Norway, and yeah, subscribe, and I see you next time.